I will know that those are not.
If y'all could come on in and have a seat, we're going to go ahead and get started. Good morning on this beautiful, beautiful Sunday in Atlanta, Georgia. And welcome to the First Existentialist congregation of Atlanta.
Instant Car Mode, which is in the new songbook. All the songs today are in the new songbook, and they're all Beatle songs. Hold on to that page, because we're going to also sing in my life next.
Welcome to the First Existentialist congregation of Atlanta. We are a philosophically based spiritual community founded on existentialist and feminist principles. And we make our spiritual home in the old stone church, which was hand-built by the African-American Antioch East Baptist Church. We acknowledge that racial hostility drove those African-Americans from the area, and we honor them and the powerful history of this place. We also acknowledge that in the 1800s, the Muskogee Creek people were driven from this land, and we support justice for all indigenous people. I'm so glad to see y'all here this morning. It's a beautiful day. I was happy I didn't have to worry about a parking space, but I'm certainly disappointed for the people who were going to be vendors and attendees at the festival. I'm really sorry that the festival got canceled, and yet it turned out to be such beautiful weather. So, but you just can't. There's just no fool in Mother Nature. She's going to do what she's going to do. Craig's title today is Nothing is Real. I looked up a few things, and deep in the human unconscious is a pervasive need for a logical universe that makes sense. But the real universe is always one step beyond logic. That's reality, y'all. Do we have any newcomers that would like to stand and let us know who you are, how you came to be here this morning? Anybody?
And Jake?
Okay, yeah. Hi.
Hi.
My name's Jake, and I came across y'all online. I live not too far from here, so wanted to come check y'all out. I don't know what y'all need to know about me, but I'm happy to be here.
We'll find out.
There's a little piece of paper here on the edge that if you would like to get information about us, we have what we call a weekly e-blast And it just lets you know what's going on in the community, what's going on here at the congregation, who's going to be speaking in the coming weeks. So if you would like, you can fill that out and just put it in the collection plate when it goes around. How about any birthdays and anniversaries? I think we have one, yeah. And it's actually today, right?
No, it's actually last Sunday.
Last Sunday.
25th of September.
Oh, I thought it said October 2nd.
Yeah, it did. I don't know why.
Okay. All right. Happy birthday, Stella.
Birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Stella. Happy birthday to you.
You're still a Libra, though, right?
That's right. Very balanced.
No, I think it's time for another congregational song. Craig, where are we going?
Okay, in my life, that's
If we have any community announcements, if you would write those down and bring it up to me at some point before the end of the service, and then I'll read them all out at one time. This is a fellowship minister moment. That would be me. I am so grateful that we're having this beautiful weather. But the devastation in Florida is unbelievable. The reports, the pictures, people whose lives have been so totally upturned, and who knows how long it's going to be before there'll be any kind of normalcy for a vast number of people in Florida. So I would like to ask, one, that you think of these folks, that you keep them in your thoughts, your prayers, your meditations. And if there's a way that you would like to help, I know that there are innumerable ways, organizations, MSNBC, CNN, all of these, you can go to those stations and it will list a large number of opportunities that you have to be able to help out. I know that the Atlanta Humane Society has received a lot of the cats that came out of the Humane Society down there, or at least in one of those areas, the Humane Society shipped their cats up here. So, that's a place that you can help out locally. But there's always a place, to be able to put your heart and your minds, your money, your effort, when we think about what's going on with other folks, and to be hold in gratitude, what we have. So please keep those folks in your mind. We're going to take a few minutes for a silent meditation. We have candles on either side of the room. So this is a time for you to just sit quietly with your brothers and sisters, and I will make a turn when it's time to come back. Oh, another congregational song.
Yes. Just back up from where you were to Here Comes the Sun. And, Heidegger's too. But what I did, when I got to the Heidegger stuff, suddenly these bells went off and I saw how it related to the Beatles' lyrics. So, and yeah. Yeah, okay. So, it's a little bit, there's a lot here, and I'll try to make it as clear as I can. Okay? The lyrics of a bunch of Beatle songs derive from Being and Time, Heidegger's primer on how to become one's authentic self. Hence, you can learn how to be you in time. His term Dasein combines the German word for be, sein, with a word meaning there, da. Each verse of All You Need Is Love begins with theirs, is the present tense of be, and utters be repeatedly. Why I didn't notice this years ago, I don't know. The main feature of design is that it is usually busy doing something, Sarah Bakewell tells us At the Existentialist Cafe. The verses list do, sing, say, learn, play, make, save, do again, learn again, be, know, show, and be again. Heidegger's favorite example, Bakewell mentions, is hammering nails. His father was a cooper. Compare this picture of George hammering nails into John, punning to hit the nail on the head. Holding in a readiness-to-hand mode results in cognition, Heidegger says. So, I think you'll understand when I tell you something. I want to hold your hand. I'm not claiming that they had Heidegger to do that, just probably incidental. Intentionality, stressed by Heidegger's mentor, Husserl, is expressed by can-do, etc. The potential of there's nothing you can do that can't be done overcomes the hopelessness when there's nothing you can do and can't be done are spoken as separated clauses. I hope I'm not losing you already. Confined to appearances and not seeking truth, we lose ourselves and we fall, Heidegger states. I'm a loser, and I've lost someone who's near to me, and so it's true, pride comes before a fall. What have I done to deserve such a fate? I realize I have left it too late. Although I laugh and I act like a clown, beneath this mask I am wearing a frown, and my tears are falling like rain. I'm not what I appear to be. An inauthentic self is maintained by disguises and concealments, the teacher avows. Unconcealment is how we get out from under their consequences by way of a negation of negation. There's nothing you can show that can't be shown, nothing you can know that can't be known. Anxiety reveals the nothing, and we release ourselves into the nothing, encourages Heidegger, which is to say that we liberate ourselves from those idols everyone has and to which they are wont to go cringing in fear or in deference as well as adulation. It's an intentional leap as opposed to the fall into a kind of nowhere that turns us into a nobody. The nowhere man making all his nowhere plans for nobody. Lenin urges us and our unreal self, let me take you down, there's the leap, to a realm where nothing is real. Truth grows up inside all the finite experiences, William James cryptically discloses, but nothing outside of the flux secures the issue of it in the homeless condition of what the Harvard philosopher, psychologist labels a tramp and vagrant world. In an essay placed to describe the techniques Lenin uses in a ludicrous short story, Leslie Fiedler champions negative critical function as he quotes Herman Melville. There is, that's Dasein, there is the grand truth about Nathaniel Hawthorne. He says, no in thunder. All who say yes lie, and all who say no are in the happy condition of judicious, unencumbered travelers. They cross the frontiers into eternity with nothing but a carpetbag. A writer cannot afford to lose for an instant a sense of opposition to the world. Let him pretend that his no is a yes, she could let him or her, and they will end up writing travesties. The no in thunder remains a no forever, Fiedler says. In Strawberry Fields Forever, Lennon checks himself. I think or no or yes, but it's all wrong. That is, I think I disagree. A hard no like this, pressed as far as it will go, agrees with the bleakest passage in Shakespeare. Life is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. If there's nothing to get hung about, it all works out, since it doesn't matter much to me. Intense creativity or danger or love narrows and deepens your focus. One is temporarily unshackled from life's chains. No mind or heart hobbles, no analyzing or explaining, no questing for logic, no promises, no goals, no relationships, no worry. All one feels is affectionate curiosity for the whole bustling enterprise of creation. There's a sense of revelation and gratitude in the surrender to transcendent play Diane Ackerman informs us in her marvelous Deep Play Inquiry. Next. A field of play is opened up by the experience of the nothing. Rudiger Safransky paraphrases in Martin Heidegger Between Good and Evil. Strawberry Fields is where young John played. The no one in my tree can't tune in, and yet they can learn how to play the game. From Gavin, Indo-European, for to leap merrily. If it's pure child's play, it's easy, Lennon sings. Heidegger asks, what seems easier than to let a being be just the being that it is? Let it be, there will be an answer. Next. The fool on the hill, about to leap into nothing, signified by 0, the number of the card, sees the sun going down and the eyes in his head see the world spinning round. His forgetfulness from drinking Lethe water, Lethe being the river of forgetfulness in Greek mythology, turns into naked truth, aletheia, which is the word that Heidegger uses for truth. The Beatles grasp that authenticity's freedom inheres in the derivation of free from an Indo-European root meaning to love. Say the word and you'll be free. The word is love. Heidegger omitted love, from which the meaning of being might just as well spring, Safransky notes. It's such a feeling that my love, I can't hide. But hey, you've got to hide your love away, was what the philosopher, which means lover of wisdom, insisted he and Hannah Arendt do. Extreme secrecy kept others from detecting the affair with his student. He would later confess, Hannah was the passion of my life. She confided, he lives in a profundity and with a passion that one cannot easily forget. He did not admit he loved her, nor act sorry for hurting her. Were the Beatles aware of their forlorn drama as they reprised, she loves you, yeah, amidst volleys of love is all you need? The earlier song speaks of love that was lost when you hurt her so and she almost lost her mind. John and Paul's advice is apologize to her, for it's you she's thinking of, and she told me what to say. She said she loves you, and you know you should be glad. It's ironic that joy is a state of being, the heartbreaker Heidegger embraced. The professor lectured on Plato's simile of the cave. Its inhabitants cling to shadows of opinion, habits, and everyday attitudes under the roof of pre-given truths, as Safransky rephrases it. Leaving the darkness, a maverick discovers the light of the sun and returns to the others, trying to spark interest in them. For a while, Heidegger mistakenly looked forward to Hitler leading a collective breakout from the cave. Next. In the cavern, an air raid shelter from Nazi bombs, the Beatles honed an aesthetic they called breakout and sang, "I'll follow the sun," as they surfaced to divide their faces. Next, to divide their faces into light emerging from shadow. They had forged breakout in the Hamburg clubs that were also former air raid shelters during the war. There, they befriended existentialists, who I suspect got them interested in the ideas of Heidegger and his ineptly reasoned commitment to Nazism. "We all have Hitler in us," John said, as he and his mates wore painted swastikas on old Afrika Korps caps. He goose-stepped and shouted, "Heil Hitler," and berated the audience to clap your hands, you fucking Nazis, Barry Miles recounts in the Beatles' diary. Lenin rubbed their defeat in, "Where are your tanks now, you bastards?" There was, Devin McKinney's Magic Circles, the Beatles in Dream History claims, love and hate passing between performer and audience in that land of the crazed, drunken and stumbling in the dark, trembling with a hostile energy forced backward under a weight of irresolvable emotion, impacted angers, guilts and frustrations. Could it be that the Krauts looked at the Limeys and saw themselves in a warped mirror and vice versa, and there was recognition of fellow feeling? George revealed that our sound really stems from Germany. Its compressed angst would excite Beatlemania. Hang with me a little bit more. I'm sorry it's a little long, but sometimes we're long here. Heidegger's thinking, Safransky observes, still contains echoes of the Christian Gnostic metaphysics that for him represents a living tradition. As in olden times, any brightness of thought and civilization has to work its way out of the all-underlying night through freedom, the open point in creation. "You were only waiting for this moment to be free," McCartney encourages a blackbird to fly into the light of a dark black night. It seems to me that the only true Christians were the Gnostics, who were all about reaching the Christ within, John enthuses. The light is the truth. "Let there be light" induces the primordial there be design. Eve's and Adam's eyes were open to see creation when, with readiness to hand, they grabbed an apple from the tree of knowledge and ate it. Gnosis means knowing in ancient Greek. Elaine Pagels, a Gnostic scholar, recollects that freedom was the lure in early Christian contemplation of Eve's and Adam's gnosis. However, increasingly powerful and corrupt authorities turned it into a tale of bondage, banished proponents of the heresy, and subjected the faithful to Augustine's original sin doctrine. The serpent was said to be the devil who tempted Eve and Adam to disobey God's command to not eat the apple. Next. Here's Billy Graham scowling and wagging an accusatory finger as Eve's transgression is depicted. This is like from 1952. His tremendous promotion by Time Life and Hearst Publications was prompted by a ruling elite's decision to enroll the public in a crusade for freedom that used religion to wage psychological warfare against atheistic communism, while original sin was aimed at believers to guarantee conformity to God-fearing protocols. Communism, Graham harangued, gets its power from the devil, and throughout America and almost every part of our life, we are infiltrated with communists, whether they are card-carrying or not. We're in a battle between Christ and Antichrist, and communism must die, he implored. Launching Crusade for Freedom in 1950, General Eisenhower said, "Communists aim to destroy human liberty and to control the world, so we have to fight the big lie with the big truth, that our right of freedom derives from God." Ronald Reagan starred in the program's movie propaganda, The Big Truth, and served as his mouthpiece for 4 decades. It was a paying gig. Yeah, he was paid for 15 years, but he went on and on and on. You know, so. In God We Trust was stamped on the USA's money, and under God was added after one nation in the Pledge of Allegiance, which all children with a hand held over their solemn heart and eyes glued to the flag recited, buttressing patriotic muscle memory. And next. Christian Crusade, a John Birch Society front, saturated fundamentalist flocks with pamphlets and preachers claiming that the Beatles were a psychological warfare weapon of the communist conspiracy, inducing a suicide of the mind in the youth of the free world. We are in the fight of our lives and the lives of our children. Action taken now by concerned Christians and patriotic Americans is of the utmost importance. Let's make sure 4 mop-headed antichrist beatniks don't destroy our children's emotional and mental stability and ultimately destroy our nation. Their rant hysterically agitated those who took it at face value. Next. Attuned to the emerging counterculture's gnosis, the Beatles named their business Apple and held their first board meeting while they circled the Statue of Liberty, the premier icon of freedom, and as Lenin's head was crowned by an apple. We see his sketch of himself as the lady with the Chinese junk that they had rented. He had just composed Revolution, repetitions of you know, support doubts about destructive methods of change. You better free your mind instead. Gnostics never hoped that any political or economic revolution could do away with all the iniquitous elements. They fostered the transformation of the mind with its natural consequence, a changed attitude toward the world. Stephen A. Huller's The Gnostic Jung and the 7 Servants of the Dead says, "I thought I knew you, what did I know?" McCartney asks, while wondering, where did you go? The answer, you're nowhere, underscores, why did you not treat me right? Those negations of not and nowhere enable love's nasty habit of disappearing overnight. I'm looking through you, you're not the same, though you don't look different, you have changed. Reverted back to inauthentic Dasein. In other words, living is easy with eyes closed, misunderstanding all you see. You don't know what you're missing, that the world is at your command, meaning available. Authentic intention can fit in and appreciate pure being everywhere it happens to be. There's nowhere you can be that isn't where you're meant to be. Liberates us to dwell in the awe that Heidegger calls radical astonishment. Gnostics know evil underlies the nothingness of chaos and bursts into the world. Heidegger also warns, in Safransky's words, there's an aspect of evil in the nothing. When Lennon sings, "Nothing is real," the notes of "is real" form a tritone. Christian clergy lambasted Diablos in Musica, the devil in music, and forbade it except when lyrics indicated the devil's threat. Abundance of tritones in blues, jazz, and rock and roll have trained modern ears to enjoy them, to relinquish their stigma and restriction of context. Next. One connotation of blue is rigidly religious or moralistic, as in the blue meanings. Like Billy Graham, their ringleader's finger incites warriors to attack, while a glove pulverizes the K and W of giant letters that spell no to leave no standing. The cartoon begins with the Chief Blue Meanie exclaiming, "We meanies only take no for an answer. Is that understood, Max?" "No, your blueness," Max retorts. Ringo says of the foul tyrant, "He's so smart he doesn't know what he knows." Next. In contrast, a boob, a fool character, who Ringo asks, "Must you always talk in rhyme?" answers, "If I spoke prose, you'd all find out I know not what I talk about." Poetry outsmarts prosaic stupidity. The word glove escapes John's mouth, the G breaks off, and all you need is love is heard, while the W and K resurrect, turning no into now, and then no. Eternity is right now, not after death when you thought it was. Thomas Cathcart and Daniel Klein declare in Heidegger and a Hippo walk through those pearly gates, which Bill Reed led me last week to read. Heidegger suggests that acceptance of our eventual death can awaken unshakable joy. Compare John and Yoko's "Oh boy, when you're dead," amidst joyful musical exuberance. "Think," John shouts like Heidegger, who often exclaimed "think" at baffled students. "Pretty soon you're gonna be dead," leads to "shine on like the moon, the stars, and the sun." Last page, finally, okay. And next picture here. In the animated movie, John's right hand signifies the devil, index and pinky fingers raised like horns, while the thumb covers middle and ring fingers. But on the cover of the single record, featuring Yellow Submarine, his left, sinister in Latin hand, reverses and extends the thumb, thus expressing the death language sign of love. Here's another aha epiphany. That Indo-European root of free, meaning to love, is also the root of friends, who are all aboard. I get by, high, and try with their help. We can come together in a "you got to be free" mode, or kowtow to not free punishments of what Heidegger calls the they. John is well aware that they want to crucify me. The Beatles performed, one more picture. The Beatles performed All You Need Is Love on the worldwide television broadcast of a show called Our World. Not for ourselves alone, but for the whole world are we born, was the motto of Paul's and George's school. Out of this rock you will find truth was the motto of John's school, next to a quarry. The quarryman was their first name. Its song proposes, having learned this tune here, build with the stones you've hewn here, in the rock of the lives before us. Our being among one another in the world can be emancipating, Heidegger wishes. If we surrender to the void, nothing, as the Beatles coax us in Tomorrow Never Knows, their Tibetan Book of the Dead interpretation. Lennon intones Om, the Sanskrit sound of nothing, wrapped in a 5-chord, an opposition that typically anticipates a dialectical musical resolution. Still lingering on the 5, nothing's gonna change my world, is defensive. No way will my position be altered. A 4-chord follows, blissfully returning us home to the one, while words express a doing something exertion of being, to assert that nothing is gonna change my world. That's it. And I get some credit in school. Thank you.
I've never been heard a Beatle song again. Thinking about everything you said, that was really amazing.
Thank you, Jan. Thank you. Oh. You're welcome. Thank you. I did put a little bit of work into that. I have to say. There's actually a whole book. There's 15 chapters, so you may not want to go there. Not all about Heidegger, though. The rest of it.
I won't listen to the Beatles again without thinking about something with existentialism.